doing it without the microphone, but that's really bizarre. What is the sound like? Yeah, that's not the microphone though, which is a bit worrying. As long as it's loud enough, but that is not a microphone, so I don't know how reliable that's going to be. We'll do it like that. I'll put the microphone in my pocket and we'll just go with the phone. It may not be as good, that's the only trouble. So welcome everybody. Do a quick thumbs up if you're absolutely new to me and you've never been on one of my tours before. It's always nice to know if you're new to me, and rarely, if you're new to Hago, then put up a heart. Thumbs up if you're new to me, and a heart if you're absolutely new to Hago. It does still happen sometimes, bizarre. And if you're new to me, I just make sure I give a bit more of an introduction. But if everybody knows me, I don't need to do that every single time. And I know I'm competing with Avia and Andrea. I was watching them as I was driving over here, and it was like, oh no, what do I do? Part of me wants to be in Italy. Oh, thank you, Diane. That's very kind. Got a nice family of swans coming up to see what I'm up to. It was a lot nicer when I came the other day when it was sunny. Oh, I can't tell you how really, tours need sunshine. It shouldn't matter, should it? It really shouldn't matter, but things can be quite drab in the rain. Oh, well, thank you for coming back, Cheryl. I've been on one tour before. It's good that you've come back. So at the moment, we're in a coastal town called Shoreham by Sea. And if you look on your map, you'll see that we're right on the south coast. Oh, thank you, Gregory. We're just a little bit west of Brighton, and we're about just over an hour south from London. And at the moment, I'm not right on the coast, but I'm extremely close. I could cross you over the road and down a bit, we'd be on the sea. But today we're on the river. Yeah, they will be quirky in the drizzle. They will be. I tell you, there's some really interesting stories behind these, and it's made me so want to live here and be part of this community. I can't tell you. I'd love it. It'd just be my cup of tea. I haven't spoken to anyone so far today. I wasn't aware my voice was croaky. Not sure what that's about. So, nobody's new to me by the looks of it. And welcome, Diane. Lots of Dianes popping up. So we've got about 3 minutes to go. And then we'll settle in and we'll start the walk. I'm going to turn the camera from me anyway, so you can just get a first view of the kind of location that we're on. Directly opposite me, where you can see the church in the background, that is actually the town of Shoreham. Shoreham by Sea, as it is known. It's on the train line. You can come directly down from London. And they built this really nice, I think it's called the Millennium Bridge, so it's probably how long we've had it, a footbridge from one side to the other, because the side that we're on is actually called Shoreham Beach. It's kind of a spit land between the river and the coast. Nice place to live. And then so that you can easily get across to the town, they've put a footbridge, which makes a lot of sense. Where are those swans gone? There they are. Coming to see what's going on. Don't the babies stay dark for a long time? I think it's a full year that they keep their dark feathers. So they look quite fully grown, and yet they're still babies, really. Following Mummy Swan round. Hi, Lee. Nice that you've joined us. So we've got about 2 minutes to go before we start walking along what is called the riverbank. So original. Do you think anybody lives on that one? Oh, hi, Quinn. Good to see you. Do you think anybody could live on that one? Look at that wreck. That's a good starting point. It can only get better from now on. Oh dear. That's our first boat. It will only get better. So I had 94 people booked on this tour. We need to wait and see if they're all going to come along. It doesn't ever work like that, but hey, we can but hope. Pizzazz, seen that name before. And Pasquina, hi. Good to see you all. Hi, Lynn. I've forgotten which part of the UK you're in, Lynn. You're not far away, are you? I seem to remember you're not far away. Hi, Emily and Carol. Just having a gentle look down the river. Hi, Tish. Good to see you. Down the river, just a wee bit that way, is the south coast and straight across to France. Oh, it happens all the time, Dawn. Can't be helped. Such is life. Oh, Beverly, well, welcome, welcome. And I will turn the camera around so you can say hi properly. Welcome, Beverly from Chicago. How did you find me if it's your first tour? You're a bit like me. I just randomly select things on the day. I don't book ahead often. I'm glad you chose me. You could have gone to Italy. I've been with Andrea and Avia going around Genoa for most of the day doing my knitting. And I kind of got cozy and forgot I had to get going. But I'm here and I'm on time, so we're good. So welcome, welcome everybody. 40 seconds to go and we'll start walking along the riverbank. Hi, Memphis Paul. Memphis Paul, but Stefan. I never know what to call people. You're in Memphis, you're called Paul or Stefan. Hi, Jim from Canada. Welcome. I suddenly feel cold. I haven't really felt like autumn's coming yet, but I do actually feel cold today. So 8 seconds and counting, and the rain has stopped. Hallelujah. Really heavy when I was driving along, so we're very lucky in that way. Your mother's from Germany. Ah, willkommen. And you're now in Memphis. It's a long way away. So we're good to go. So my name's Ginny, and I do what I call Ginny's Jaunts along the south coast in a county called West Sussex. And I live in Worthing, which is about 8 miles west. We are now in Shoreham by Sea, which is right on the south coast. We're about 5-6 miles out of Brighton and just over an hour south on the train from London. So that gives you an idea of the location. I am going to show you where we are in relation to Shoreham itself. So that is the town, and we are looking across the river, and this is the River Ada. Now, those of you who've been on my tours in Arundel know there's another river which is called the River Arun, and living here in between the two was always confused, Arun and Ada. But this is the River Ada, and over the way there is the town of Shoreham by Sea. Interesting church called St Mary de Hora Church. And there's a footbridge which goes from Shoreham town over to the spit that we're on, which is called Shoreham Beach. It's quite a favoured place to live. The houses are quite expensive, which is probably why people end up living somewhere like this. So we're starting at this end, and there are an incredible variety of these houseboats as we go along. But starting here, we get to see probably the only one that we see the full length of. Oh, wow, Coral. Well, there you go. You've probably been here before. And most of these boats are probably about 70 foot plus long. And these are all lived in. Every single one that we're going to see is lived in. Oh, well, I say that. Some of them are owned now as Airbnb. And I suspect some people have got another home. But largely, this is it. This is their home. So this is our first one, which has actually got the Sussex flag flying above it. If it can dare to show it all. And this is quite a plain one, so we won't dwell on it very long. But we can already start to see how nice they make them by what they do with their outside space. So everybody's made an attempt to do something of a garden, and they're all kind of quirky. I mean, look at these wooden carvings that he's popped out here. Can't see them very clearly. They are black bears. Yes, that's the martlet's birds for Sussex on the flag. So he's got these funky carved bears out in his garden for no reason at all, really. And that's why I like it. And then they built an outdoor sitting area. And as I say, when I came here on Sunday to have a sort of mooch around, it was sunny and glorious, and a lot of people were out on their, what would you call them, balconies, verandas. Let's just say their outside space. So that's one big boat there, and this is their outside space and their shed. So they've tried to recreate as much as they can kind of a normal homely living. So this is number 2. And this is quite basic again. Don't get too disheartened. They do get really interesting. We've just had to start at one end and work our way along. So we won't dwell on the ones that aren't quite so interesting. Just let you see the side view of this one before we move on, because you don't get to see a full side view many times, because largely they're all quite squashed up together. And again, this one's tried to do a bit of a garden and to pass by their shed. We're also actually quite close up to some actual houses. I'll show you how close we are to the actual houses, which I suppose would have had a nice view of the river. And there's this walkway all along. This whole area is just called the riverbank. You see how nicely he's done his garden? I mean, there's all sorts knocking about. I tell you, there's a white plastic duck there. I don't know if you can see it. So it's starting to get a little bit quirkier. You can hear rushing water somewhere. This one completely different, again quite plain, and I would say that doesn't actually look lived in at the moment. It's all looking a wee bit abandoned. So this one looks a slightly better, looks like it's having a bit of a makeover. Yeah, the houses, yes, because we're actually on shore and beach. Yeah, we're on a kind of a spit land called shore and beach, so the houses are on the beach. I would quite like to live on the beach. This is, I would say, the tide coming in. When I was here at the weekend, it was low tide. When it's really low tide, it's just mud flats. There'll be no water here at all, Jim. So the tide is coming in, and the river is quite high in the main bit in the middle. So it's coming in, and this is not as low as it would be. When I came on Sunday, they were all just sitting on mud flats. It's a tidal river. Obviously, we're very close to the sea, so it's very variable, can be quite deep, and then, as I say, just mud flats. So again, they've got their little outdoor space and the boat. And again, I don't know that there's any police living. Sorry, I'm just commenting because I saw something behind me. I don't know that there's anyone actually living on that one. So this one, as you can see, is called Aquarius. And I think they try to maintain their privacy because they've put a massive fence around it, which is fair enough. They must get people coming along all the time. So, Joe, the beach with the sand and the waves, I can't show you, but if I turn round, these are the houses on the road on the spit, which is called Shore and Beach. If we walked about 10 minutes across there, we would come to the main beach, where it's a pebbly beach, and we would see the sea over to France. So if you can get the map up, you'll see that I'm on a kind of a headland or a spit, which is called Shore and Beach. Also, if we follow the river straight down, you'd also come out to the main coastline and the sea. So that's where we are in relation to that. The mud doesn't smell too much. I would say the main thing you get is a seaweedy smell, which isn't unpleasant. I wonder where he got that from. Strange figurehead. Bizarre. I'll show you later. Some of them have adopted gardens on the other side of the path. But I'll show you that as we get further along. Now this one was a torpedo boat. And I happen to know because this one is for sale. You see, I have been looking. It got me twitchy and thinking I'd quite like this lifestyle. And I know that this one's a torpedo boat, and I know it's got 3 bedrooms, and I know it's for sale. But I'm not sure I'm tempted. They're as much as a house. It's as much as a house. It actually was an old ship, Grace. That one was a German torpedo boat. So it actually was an old boat. And later we're going to see a full-on minesweeper. It gets crazy, I'll tell you. It gets crazier and crazier. So here's one that's looking like it's being done up. That's a lot of new wood on the top of that one. I should think the upkeep is a nightmare. And I know for a start, I don't think so, Gregory. Although you will see there is the odd torpedo about. I think one of the biggest problems with these is you can't get a mortgage because you could never have a survey. So you've got to buy these cash outright. And I think that's probably quite a risk. Here's a beginning of some of the quirky things that we're going to see. Here's a nice little wooden crocodile clinging to the fence. So it's a community of people who are all quite quirky in themselves. We'll see as we go along, there are some artists. Oh, right, yes, sorry. Yeah, with the figurehead, it kind of looks like that. Yes, sorry, Grace, yeah. Sometimes the chat is like, I've moved on in my commentary and you don't realise, sorry. This one I like, with its hula things and a nice little cat on the veranda. The pots of flowers. That's really nice. And they've got quite a few outbuildings and they've got a really nice garden space lower down. But again, they're trying to maintain their privacy, so we get fences. And they've all got a letterbox. It's number 34, and this is called Calliope. Got lovely garden space. Sorry, you've got slats in front, but it's really rather beautiful. Right, we'll move along to the next one, and I'll show you how they've taken over the gardens on the other side. So we've got this path running all the way along, and some of them have adopted the space on the other side. I suspect they have to pay what we would call a mooring fee, Heidi. They would have to pay something regularly to moor here. So this is somebody who's extended and given themselves a bit more garden space by going the other side of the walkway. So I was saying that largely these are inhabited by artisans.
They are owned by...
Yes, I realise that.
It's not just sort of encroached on them.
No, I realise they've extended their garden space to that space.
Extended.
No, but they're not just keeping it on the boat. I mean, it's a live stream. I don't want to have a long conversation. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, but I just, if you're talking about us, it's nice that it's actually...
Yeah. So the lady was just saying that they're not just random bits of land, that they're actually part of their ownership, and that gives them the chance, I assume, that they then start to grow their own things as well, which is nice. So one of the gentlemen that lives here is a stained glass artist, which is really nice.
120? Oh, yeah. What's that? I didn't,
Sweet. So yes, they must pay a certain amount for this land as well, because as she said, this is their private land just as much as the boat is their private land. So I'm not sure how it would go with moorings. So here's one of the first ones that I really like. And as we move along, they start putting rather a lot of quirky things on the side of their boats. There used to be one with a whole caravan and a coach on the top and a caravan on the side, but I think that boat's gone. So here we've got one that have put a bike on the side, which is rather lovely. And then round the other side, look at that. So this is called on my phone sound. Has it come back now? There we go. I think you should have sound now. So that's their kind of, I suspect that's their studio, and you can just see their little bit of seating area. And this is actually the boat they live on. This is actually a really nice one. And I'd say to get them like this, you're going to have to put a lot of money into them. Largely, it's the people's only home, Joe. So what there is a core community along here. And there has actually been a houseboat community here since the 1920s, 1930s. And there used to be a steamboat here, which was like a nightclub. So there's been this sort of community living along here for a long time. And for most of these people, this is their only home. For a few, I think it's a second home. And there is one at least that has been turned into an Airbnb. So that's obviously a second home. But I actually believe they did live in it at one time. So I don't know. But largely these are fully lived in. I'll show you which one I'd like, Joe, when I get to it. I will show you which one I would like. So here's another one with some interesting artwork on the walls and a nice fenced in area. So there is one main guy that is mentioned a lot, Mr. Mackenzie. He owns 7 of these. So I suspect he lives in one, rents one out, and has one as an Airbnb. But he's a core person in the community. And I've shown you this on the side of this outbuilding, but just have a look at what the actual outbuilding is. Because the outbuilding itself is an upturned boat. Look at that. That's really cool. I really like that. So completely keeping up the theme. Get yourself a boat, turn it upside down, and there's your outbuilding. I love that. Nicely painted up as well. I'm sorry the sound isn't great. I seem to have had a problem with my microphone earlier, so I pulled it out and we're relying on the sound from the phone. So do tell me if it goes and let me know. I think there is a mix of people. I have seen some people who are clearly still working, either working on their boats or, have sort of offices here. But they've also got businesses here because their boards are up for their businesses. So I'd say there are people in their 40s, 50s, and some older people. Some of them are seaworthy, Lee. Some of them would be seaworthy. It's a nice little sign. This one is called Twinkle. And got a nice array of beach huts up there. And also, Lee, they do have to be seaworthy in that they are sitting in the water. So they can't, they have to be tight, watertight and safe. Whether they would ever set off out to sea again, probably not. Interesting gate. A little bit spooky. But it's this kind of thing, I think, that reflects the kind of personality of who would live here. I don't know about flood insurance. They would never completely flood because they would float. They would all float and they're all happy sitting in the water. I think all sorts of other insurances could be a problem though. As I say, you can't get a mortgage, you can't survey them. And if I were to buy one, it's a heck of a risk. Excuse me. The one I said that was for sale, and I'll have to tell you in relative terms what this means, but the one that's for sale is nearly £300,000. That's not a lot different to my house. So to take that risk and not have bricks and mortar is a bit scary. And I think when you have a project like this is probably how it often ends up. It's just a project. It's a pile of stuff that really needs sorting out. Yes, Jim, I know that's crazy. That's £300,000. That's not far off your dollars if you just, as a rough guide, you just say it's the same. So that's a lot of money. You're kind of buying a lifestyle. It's not, you're buying a lifestyle. You're not getting the space. You're just getting a very different way of life. It's not a bad thing. Right, let's move on to one of the really interesting. This is a nice one. Again, they've put a lot of work into new wood and new paintwork. But if you look at the actual size of the top, that's not very big. There would be bedrooms in that lower part. So you do end up with like a kitchen, a bathroom. You do end up with a range of things. In fact, while I've stood still for a minute, I'll show you the interior of one, the one that is an Airbnb, because I think you'll be surprised at what they've actually done with the space. And you can see why I would be tempted to go with this as a lifestyle, because it's not bad. Just have a look. Look at those interiors. It's not bad. So you still get what you would expect to have: a kitchen, bathroom, 2-3 bedrooms, a living space, and an outside space. So as I say, we're very close to other actual houses. It is lovely, Sarah. It's kind of, I don't know, it makes me feel calm, and I like to think there are people living like this. I should think anyone can buy them, Joe. To be honest, they don't often come for sale. Since I've been planning this tour, I've been looking, and you know, looking is really quite a keen eye, and I know they don't come up for sale very often. Being local, I've often looked. So this one is called Asteroid. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's a lot of money. I mean, I don't know whether that equates to a house where you live, but it equates to a house where I live. So let's have a look at this beast of a ship here. So this, with its with its pirate flag, it's quite funny to have a pirate flag. This is actually a minesweeper. I'll go a bit closer so you can see the whole thing. Well, let me show you the top first from here. You see that? With its original markings and numbers. Like this. I don't know whether you can see this to read it. Drinking rum before noon makes you a pirate, not an alcoholic. You see, that's the sentiment I like. I always fancied being a pirate. So I like that. So to say, this one was a German minesweeper. And it's even got bits and bobs from the ship all sticking about out here. Yeah, I'm a pirate and I've always known it, Joe. I've always known it. So it's got all these bits and bobs from the ship stuck on the side. And these obviously decommissioned ships. And the torpedo boat we saw earlier cost the guy 800 quid to buy it. It cost him thousands to get it livable in and to transport it, obviously, to get it here. But this is massive. So this, I'm sure there was a sign up. Yeah, there is a sign in a minute. We'll have a look at the sign that tells you a little bit more about this. So this was designed originally for a crew of 30 people. A bit cramped for 30 people. That's a big boat. So there's a picture of it when they first bought it here. The name of it originally was Fischer, which obviously is fish in German, and it's a minesweeper. So it came into service in 1958 for the Federal German Navy and was completed in 1960. I think it has got some windows. There is a top section that has windows. Yeah, I think that would be a little bit weird inside. But isn't that interesting? I mean, it's just, that has to be a bizarre place to live. I love it. So that's our decommissioned military gunboat. And that cost £1,000 to transport it here, £800 to buy it, £1,000 to transport it here and make it habitable. And he's had to have a bit of a fight to keep it here. I think the locals weren't too happy. Now, I talked to you earlier about one that had a caravan stuck on the side. Well, unfortunately, there is only the caravan now. I was a bit disappointed when I came on Sunday to see this, but it's now a building site, and where the houseboat was, it's gone. Yeah, the inside would be crazy. Would be crazy. Now this one I can see myself in because it's in really nice condition and it has got windows. You said you didn't like the other one because it didn't have windows. This one is much more acceptable, I think, as a living space. And you can see it's got a lower deck and an upper deck. And they've put their outdoor space on the back, which would be lovely straight onto the river. You can see the tides coming in. There's a picture of the information about the minesweeper if you weren't able to get it. And whoops, post those. I'm just seeing if I've got any other interior shots. No, I haven't got an interior shot of the one that you wanted to see, Sarah. I spoke earlier about the nightclub steamboat, and that's an old black and white picture of that. Ah, well, you see, Virginia. Oh, it's really weird calling someone Virginia. My name's Virginia, really. Shortened to Ginny. Yes, Virginia, isn't that a scary thought? So you live like this, but what if there's an almighty storm and it's all destroyed? Well, that's the thing I think you'd have a job getting insurance for, to be honest. I think that would be really tricky. Oh, thank you, Linda. So that's a really sweet one called Bimini. I like that one. I'm afraid we've got quite a few bushes to walk by, but it won't take us long. And you can still hear water gushing out somewhere, I'm not sure where. Ah, thank you. Now, feast your eyes on this.
Even better is the post box.
I know, we'll get to that. Do you live here?
No.
No.
I've heard about this. I'd like to come down and have a look.
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
So, this I think is the quirkiest. Now, this is the one that was actually on the picture of my tour. And it's not a boat cemetery, it's very much a lively. People living on these. That's the one that was on the picture of my tour. And it's obviously in a lot more sorry state now, unfortunately. So this one is called Verda. And it's actually 3 interconnected. And as the gentleman who's just passed by said, you must look at the post box first. So this is the post box. The post box is a microwave. It's a good start. And then there's a little bridge to this rather bizarre fish. Now, this, can anybody guess what this is? If you look at the windows and look at the shape, can anybody guess what that is? Yeah, yes, Tish, bang on. It's the nose cone of an aeroplane and a cockpit. What's that about, DT? What's that about? Not quite sure how that article relates. Can you explain, DT? So you approach this boat by going up this bridge into the first section, which is the cockpit of an aeroplane. So you can stay in that bit. This is the one that is actually a holiday let. The collection is called Houseboat Dodge. Enjoy a magical stay in a self-contained accommodation. I mean, it's just crazy. There's a boat within a boat. So you go up that little bridge to the first one. Then if you can see at the back, there is another section, a funky little bit at the back. And then there's another bridge which connects you to the main boat. I just love those windows, like teardrop windows. Hi. Here's one of the... Unusual to see one of the residents. So yeah, I love those windows. And that would be a nice one to stay on. And it's not too crazy. I think it's like 60 something a night. I love what's written on that. Yeah, I will go back to the sign. I just want to zoom in on what's written on the plane. Revolution, Emma Goldman, 1869 to 1940. She was an anarchist, which probably is what I am, to be honest. There you go. There's the sign. I need to come back a bit, zoomed in a bit much. So that guy just went on there. I'd love to talk to one of these guys. Oh, hi, Fliss. Nice to see you. Here we are at our quirkiest houseboat. This is actually the best one of the lot. Do you have the pleasure of living on this or owning it?
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely. You don't mind me filming it? Thank you. Oh, you forgot you could take postcards, Diane, what you like. So I would have loved to talk to that guy more, but there you go. So here we go. Getting even more interesting. Look at the side of this one. So you see there is a little bit of a car crushed into the side of that one. There's all sorts of cartoony artwork, which is just amazing. And I have yet to show you the side of this one. I told you there was a coach on the side. Look at that. Yes, Diane, collage boats. How appropriate is that? I'm doing a new tour starting tonight called Collage Club, and we're going to have a bit of messy fun like this, I'll tell you. That's at 7 o'clock tonight, my time. We're going to do some actual sticking and gluing, as I call it, but it should be fun. So if you're feeling artistic and creative, and you, especially after seeing these, then join me tonight for Collage Club. First one tonight. Isn't that just crazy? An actual coach on the side of the boat. Absolutely bonkers. Oh, thank you, Melissa. That's really kind. I think it'll be fun as well. I've got all my stuff ready. So there you go. So this one is called, if I can get it all in, or maybe not, Venture. Just Venture. So we have Ventura and Venture. I think the same guy owns all of these. I should think that is probably the guy I mentioned, Mr. Mackenzie, who owns 7 of them. Thank you, Christine. Because if you count, that one is basically 3. The coach on the side of the boat. There, Joyce. Can you see the wheels? Some of them have got tractor wheels around the windows. Can you work it out, Joyce? Oh, thank you, Gregory, and thank you, Christine. That's very kind. There you are, coach. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, I like that. And even there's got a bit of a car over there. I love the random thinking behind it. And there's another of his boats at the back. So, I mean, for him, it's absolutely an entire lifestyle, which I totally approve of. So here's the front of this one with a really interesting window. I love that. And you can just see the number plate of the car that's stuck on the side of that one. And again, the coach in the background on the one next door. This to me is the ultimate section of the tour, to be honest. And this is his gateway, some stained glass. And his post box is a boy. There you go. So that is the best section, to my mind. That is the best section of the whole lot. Absolutely love it. So I say one of them, there's another one along here called The Raft, which is an Airbnb, and that is £77 per night. And I think it sleeps 6. So actually you can have this experience, you can have a go at this, and I think I probably will one time. I really like the idea of bringing my grandchildren and staying in a boat. It's not too expensive. Now this is a massive work in progress. I don't even know what the name of this one is, and there's nothing to identify it. So it's either abandoned and in this state, or it's a project yet to be worked on. But that's quite a big boat, but a bit of a sorry state. So you see, there's a lot of them. There is supposed to be, I've counted, well, so I know by addresses there are 42 boats, but I think there are actually about 50 boats altogether, and that's because the one we've just seen is a cluster of boats, but it'll actually only be one address. So there are actually 42 numbered houseboats, but I think there are actually 50 boats along the way. They don't really get waves here, Joe, not on the river. We wouldn't get big waves. We have had one really, really bad storm in this country, which was in 1986. And I suspect there was mega damage then. But we would not get big waves like that. We would not get waves that would give them a problem. Right, carry on along the path. Sorry, the path is not so interesting. That's who lives here. Now that would be my kind of front door. Mabel Vegas. Was it 1987? Oh, I don't know. I know my little girl was about 18 months, because I remember on the Isle of Wight, Shanklin Pier completely disappeared. But the day after the storm, we actually went to the Isle of Wight. That's crazy, really, but we did. Because once it was over, it was over. Oh, did my signal just drop? So then we go from the sublime to the ridiculous, because this one, called Bunty, is tiny. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. Oh my goodness, Diane. Wasn't that ridiculous when that whole pier went? Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, so yes, we do get some storms. Oh my goodness grace. Yeah, we lost all our fences and sheds, and it was ridiculous. Fancy you remembering that. I didn't think you were that old, Grace. I don't know why. You need a stronger word than quirky. Well, I did put in my description it was the ultimate expression of British eccentricity. That isn't quite enough. Yeah. I don't know what other words could we use. I mean, how about that for quirky? He even squawked at me. Shall I make it do it again? Oh no, there's real chickens down there. It wasn't that. Hi Lillian. You join us on a crazy moment where I thought it was the rubber chick. I thought the rubber chicken had a voice activated in it. And then I just suddenly looked down here to where there's actually there's real chickens. Oh, that's quite funny. Oh dear. I thought it was the rubber chicken. I do apologise, rubber chicken. Oh dear. Yeah, they've still got a sunflower. They're very lucky to have that still going. Oh, that's hysterical. I really thought as I walked by I'd triggered that chicken off. The rubber chicken is innocent. And had we carried on, we'd have realised there was actually a chicken hotel next door. So it wasn't me. It wasn't the rubber chicken. It was that one. Can't catch it through the mesh. I can just see it, but the camera won't pick it up. It's a chicken hotel. Why wouldn't you have a chicken hotel? So here's another example of the sort of people that live along here. We've had, I know there's a sculptor. No, I think it's just a joke, Grace. They obviously keep their own chickens for eggs and possibly for dinner. And that's just their outhouse for the chickens, and they've called it a chicken hotel. It's funny. Oh. Absolutely, Virginia. Why wouldn't you have a chicken hotel? So this guy who lives here, again, an artist, a sign writer. Oh dear, it's quite funny. You can get quite carried away on tours, can't you? I have to be careful because sometimes I forget, like I'm supposed to be in charge and in control, and all I want to do is have a giggle. But you know, people have often commented it's like just going for a walk with a mate with me, and that's the way it should be. So walk along and enjoy. It's just a bit of fun. It's no good taking yourself too seriously. Thank you, Diane. Oh, you can never take yourself too seriously. So there's all sorts of ways of earning a living. This guy offers fly fishing lessons on the River Ada. So that's how he's trying to make his pennies. And he's done his really quite nicely. Nice bit of minty green paint. Or shall we call it pistachio paint? Maybe. Oh, anything goes, Lillian. You know that. Get your hat blown off 1 minute. Now this is all nice. There's a nice big space here outside and a nice big workshop. No, it wasn't animated, Lee. I saw them. There were real chickens down through the mesh, strutting around. That's a really nice living space. I don't know what this one's called. This is number 12. Sure glad the rain stopped. What I like is they've made this into a proper walkway, and there are like flower beds along the way. So it's a really nice place to come for a stroll, but you will get distracted by the boats. think you were asking earlier whether the tide was coming in anymore. It's quite slow moving. It's not coming in. Where did you see a drum? Where did you see a drum? Oh no, I think it's this rather bizarre lampshade. Da, da, da. Somebody's left a lamp there. I have no idea why. I think when you come somewhere like this, you don't ask any questions. You just look and enjoy. This is a nice one too. The light isn't great, and I don't know how many things you can pick out, but there's a nice black cockerel on the table. There's a life buoy ring over there. Yeah, they would. They have to carry everything. I mean, a lot of them have, yeah, it's like a hidden objects game. Can anybody see an old metal advertising board? There's one over there for Ricard, which is an old French drink. Ricard. I think that's a bit like Pernod. Love it. A lot of them have bikes. And actually, let me just show you, it's not so bad, because a lot of them now, we're now alongside a road, not houses, and a lot of them have their own steps down the other side to the road, and a lot of them do clearly have cars, and some of them have caravans and mobile homes. So the lifestyle does come together, and you could pop to the shops. They have, some of them have got street access. We started off at the other end, Lily, and they backed straight onto houses. If you can see where that crane is and the houses start, they were straight onto houses. But by the time you get to this end, there is a road and they have got car access. So it's not so bad. Right, moving on. I didn't get to read all that, Diane. Sorry, I'm having to watch my footing as I walk. So let's see what this one is offering as a way of making a living. So the people that live here offer forest cool sessions, and they're calling themselves Woodland Buddhas. That sounds nice. Holiday workshops and birthday parties to bring your little ones. How sweet is that? Woodland Buddhas. There are houseboats everywhere. There's an awful lot of houseboats on the River Thames. In fact, my friend has got one, an old canal barge. That's what a lot of people did, converted canal barges. That one's looking a bit unhappy. I wouldn't like to have all that problem with the rust, but even a wooden one will rot. I think the upkeep and the risks are quite high. And because of that, I'm not sure whether I'd ever be bold enough to actually take up the lifestyle. But it is tempting. Right, let's crack on a little bit. Can anybody see what's coming up ahead on the left? I tell you just have to keep your eyes open because there's so many weird things. See what's coming up on the left? So random. So random. Oh yes, Lily. I could live like that. You could live like that. You're accustomed to living in a small space. I could do that. Yes, it's a funnel. And we're coming up to another of my favourite boats. There's a big tree in the way. Now I partly like it because it's painted well, but I suspect this one is gorgeous inside. Can you see at the back? They've got solar panels on the back. These ones have totally got it together. Solar panels on the back, a lot of glass at the back. That would be a lovely room with full length windows. Amazing. And lovely windows at the front, and it's been kept in lovely condition. I really like that one. And I think it's them who have probably put this funnel here, but there's no explanation. It's just a little bit random. Random funnel of a random boat. Oh, I don't know anything about that film, Lee. You mentioned it before. Halloween Ends. Let's see if I can get you over the fence to have a look at that one. I mean, that is lovely. That one is called Rebus Stone. Yeah, it's a smokestack, isn't it? An old funnel smokestack. I really like that one. And I'll show you a side shot of the one we're coming up to, because again, you won't see the side from many angles when we're stuck on the path. I really like this one though. Look, it's even got the old winching gear and the ropes. I really like that one. You can see there's people inside, so I won't keep on it too long. I'd love to go and talk to them though. Not only funnels, look, there's some other bits. Oh, I don't remember that, Karen. Do you remember what country it was in? That would have been interesting. Oh, this is the raft. This one is the raft. This one then is the Airbnb. Let's go down this little slopey path. Let's see if we can have a look closer. Oh, look, it's even got a green roof. Yes, I think this is the Airbnb one. Ooh. Excuse me, is this the Airbnb one? It is, lovely. Beautiful boat. And it's not crazy prices either, is it? Sorry, I'm live streaming. I won't get you in shot. I've seen it on the, I've seen it on the thing, but really nice. So this is the one I've shown you some interior shots of. It's beautiful. So you can come and stay on this one. Thank you, Jim. That's very kind. And look at this. We've got a living roof here. And I suspect that is another living space underneath. Let's have a look if we can see. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I should think this is another little Airbnb section. Kept nice and cozy by the living roof. Love it. So the tide is coming up. There's much more of a river and much more flow going on at the moment. Love it. I love that little bit down there. Yep, a living roof. So basically you build a garden on the top. It's quite deep soil. You can grow things to eat on the top, or you can just grow good succulent plants, and that keeps all the heat in. And then they've obviously got a log burner because they've got a storage there with logs in. Love it. I've got very slippy underfoot, so I'm just going to be very careful for a minute. There we go. So I don't know what number that is. They are hooked into electricity. I can't work out how they do the sewage. That has been on my mind a little bit. Normal drainage of normal water will go straight in the river. I suspect they have to have chemical toilets. There can't be any other system in place. Oh, look at that. It's very late to see that beautiful honeysuckle. Wow. Yeah, that was a bilge pump running, but it could also be the drainage. But they do all seem to have bilge pumps still. I often hear the running water. It's not slippery where I am now. It was when I went down to the boat because it was all wood. So just be a bit careful. A lovely door there. Let's zoom in on that for a minute. Lovely stained glass window there with a heart in the middle. So you can hear a rush of water again. Hi Nola, lovely to see you. I'm afraid you've joined us quite near the end and you missed some of the most stunning houseboats, or the craziest houseboats that there are. There's another nice little outside space. Oh, just have to be really mindful sometimes that not to be going straight. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm so worried about where I'm going at the moment. Thank you, Sandra, for your tip. That's very kind. Very kind. I'm sorry to miss when I don't see them. So here's a quite cute little one, but again small. And they've got a little kayak hooked up at the back. So I suppose just for popping over to shore and for a drink, or just pootling about up and down the river, that's a good idea too. Love the sound of water. So we'll just go one last one up this way, and then I'll see if I've got any more pictures that I wanted you to see. And for those that came in late, I will actually post the interior pictures that I had of the Airbnb, because that's particularly interesting, I think, to see what you can do with the inside. So now getting very close to the main road, and you see the cars going by. That's the main road going along the south coast. And this is actually the end of the run of houseboats. And behind, you can see the beginning of the South Downs. And for anyone that was on my Lancing College chapel tour, that's just up on the hill up there. So again, that's a very nicely kept houseboat. So there you go. So I don't think there's any questions about this. As I said at the beginning, it's a community that's been here since 1920s, 1930s, which is unbelievable, really. And now it is a lifestyle choice, and I should think there's some very interesting people along here. Let me just show you the pictures of the interior of the Airbnb again, for those that joined late or might have missed it. I think that's particularly nice to see. I know I was always curious to see what are they like inside. I am going to do it again. I think it's a really nice, thank you, Lynn, that's very kind. I think it's a nice tour to do. I think it's, I don't know, I love that whole thing about British eccentricity. It's a nice location on a lovely day. I mean, it's just lovely by the river. So yes, I'd definitely do it again. I think this will become one of my, I say regulars, I have some regular tours, but I don't tour that often. So regularly is probably once every couple of months, 3 months or so. So there you go. So if there aren't any more questions, yes, people live here permanently, Nola. It's a whole community. And for most people, this is their home, their only home. And we were saying earlier that there was one for sale, and it was pretty much the same price as my house, and they're not cheap. So it is an alternative. And this one, again's got solar panels on the top. So, you know, they're geared up to be lived on permanently. Lily and I have met up. It's always a pleasure to have Lily around. Lily and I met up in Chichester, and yeah, I'm going to try and do something together at some point, I think. Well, it's a pleasure, Melanie. A pleasure to give my time, and a pleasure to spend it with you guys. As I say, we're just walking along, having a chat, having a nice time. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Lee. I don't know, I'd ever get used to calling you Lee. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to slip. Oh dear. Thank you, Quinn. It's different, isn't it? It's very hard to think of different things. I can't go whale watching. I'm not going paragliding. I'm not doing anything crazy. But I do like to bring you interesting. And yes, if you want to have a go at collage tonight, come along to the new collage club. We do something nice and artistic together. That's fine, Pizzazz. It's a pleasure. So here we are. This is me, Crazy Ginny, having another Ginny's jaunt in Shoreham by Sea. And hope to see you all again soon. My next out and about tours are on Sunday. And I'm going to go around Arundel again in the day. And then I'm going to a park in Worthing to read some poems in the park. So we're going to a park where they used to have the international bowling competitions. Thank you, Hilary. Very kind. Oh, thank you, Sarah. So there are 2 tours on Sunday, Arundel and then poems in the park on Sunday afternoon. And today, as I say, Collage Club. So no doubt I'll see some of you soon. And it's been an absolute pleasure. So lovely to see you. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye for now.